What's up, everybody? Today I will be reviewing Coaster Express, the Roller Coaster Corporation of America wooden coaster at Parque Warner, Madrid in Spain. And this is a ride. It gets talked about as one of the roughest wooden roller coasters of all time. It's made by a company that has a crazy track record of making bad, rough, boring rides. It didn't age well. And so I didn't really know what to expect going into this. My only other experience with RCCA was on Son of Beast back in 2008. And back then, I thought that ride was intense. And I didn't really think it was I didn't think it had a boring layout at the time. But after experiencing Coaster Express and, watching POVs of Son of Beast now, I'm wondering if that's maybe what I would have thought. But anyway, before we go much further, this video idea was suggested by Sean Kaufman. He loves rough and shaky coasters, and he's been asking me for this quite a bit. So here you go, Sean. I hope you enjoy it. Shout out to him. He asks the best questions. Definitely look for his comments online and answer all his questions because they're great. They're really funny. So shout out to Sean for being awesome, and I hope you enjoy this video, bro. So here is my review on Coaster Express at Parque Warner. So you board these Intamin prefab style trains, which is already really weird. These aren't common on wooden coasters, and it's weird to see this on an old ride like that, like Coaster Express. One fact: when this ride first opened, it was called Wild Wild West after the movie, the Warner Brothers movie. But I think there was some licensing problems, and that's why they changed the name to Coaster Express. So you head up your lift hill. If you're unlucky, then the ride's going to stop on the lift hill, which is not fun in the Spanish sun. It stops on the lift hill pretty regularly. I've seen it stop up there just for a few minutes, and then it just keeps going. Or I've seen a couple times on my visits to the park where it stopped and they needed to evacuate people. So if you're unlucky, then you're going to get stuck at the top in the hot Spanish sun. If you're lucky, then you're going to go through the layout of the ride. Now, everyone said this was really, really rough, and I didn't think it was that rough. But I don't think it's a good wooden coaster for reasons I'm going to get into. So, the only really exciting part of the ride is this, kind of weird, toilet bowl-ish helix it does right as you start. You kind of curve down right into the drop and hit this, low helix, and you kind of just feel like you're going around forever. And that section had a lot of bouncing, and it was kind of funny, and it made me laugh. Also, if you're tall, do not put your hands up here. This ride has some pretty insane clearances, and this is really the section where you notice that. So, that's really the only exciting part of the ride, that helix right after the first drop. After that, you head up into, a really elongated L hill that has no force, does absolutely nothing. And then you head through a series of drops and over a hill until you hit the turnaround. In each valley, you kind of feel the coaster bleeding off a lot of speed. And there's no airtime on this ride, really. So, over these hills, you're not going to get anything. And as the ride goes, you just kind of feel it bleeding off a lot of speed, and it gets boring. By the time you hit the turnaround, it is really starting to crawl, and then you get through the double helix, and this was kind of the point of the ride where I was like, this can end now. It wasn't insanely rough. It was just kind of it was just kind of boring. It didn't do anything. It had no force. I'm not sure what else to say here. This ride is so big, but it just does absolutely nothing with the layout, which is really unfortunate. You hit a couple of airtime hills that obviously they don't give any airtime, so they're really just hills. You coast through a turn, you're taking really slow, and then you hit the final brake run, and that's basically it. This layout does not have much to it, to be honest. It did shake through the layout, but I really didn't think it was painful. My problem with the ride was just that I thought it was boring. I would definitely say this is not as rough and shaky as Son of Beast was, and definitely not as rough and shaky as Hellcat. But Hellcat at least had a more exciting layout than this, so I would still take Hellcat over this ride for sure. Because this layout was just boring. It was like, probably not as boring as something like Bandit or Grizzly, but pretty close. Like, it's not a great wooden coaster. So yeah, this isn't the most positive review, but Sean kept asking me for this, so I wanted to record it and put it out there. So yeah, everyone, even though Coaster Express is not the best ride, I would highly recommend visiting Parque Warner because the other rides are absolutely phenomenal, and I love that park. It was actually my favorite park in Europe. So, not trying to knock on Parque Warner here. Absolutely amazing park, and I would highly recommend it. Batman, Stuntfall, Superman, the Rapids ride at Acme Rapidos, Rio Bravo, all phenomenal. I'm gonna put reviews on those here eventually, but don't take this as a knock on Parque Warner. Here's the thing, like, while this ride isn't necessarily exciting, I don't think they're going to RMC this ride because it seemed like it was kind of popular more with families. And, parks definitely need rides like that. Parks need rides that aren't necessarily the most exciting and, most intense. So, there's definitely that aspect to think about too. So, yeah, those are kind of all my thoughts on Coaster Express. Definitely was not as rough as I was expecting it to be, and more so just ended up being a bit boring for my tastes. Overall, I'd probably give this ride like a 4 out of 10. There's plenty of roller coasters I would say are worse than this, but it just, the layout is so big and it just doesn't do anything with it. So, those are basically my thoughts, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. Again, shout out to Sean Kaufman for suggesting this, and expect a lot more reviews soon. I plan to only really do most of the ones that will be positive, so this is probably going to be the only exception where you're going to see a more negative review on here. So yeah, stay tuned for those, and I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching, and please subscribe and share the video. Thanks. Bye.